back at Inside Four Lines, and this time I have my principal, Miss Pepper. So she's here to tell us a little bit more about Scott and answer some follow up questions. So, Miss Pepper, if you could just tell them about yourself real quick.
My name is Elizabeth Pepper. This is my 13th year in education. I've been a classroom teacher teaching fourth grade. And then from my classroom days, I've been a school counselor, an instructional facilitator, an assistant principal, and now this is my 5th year as a principal. And I love it. I couldn't think of doing anything else.
Okay. So, Miss Pepper, what would you say for those parents? What is your, I guess, reasons for a student to be sent to Scott?
I think if you're a parent and you're looking to make the best choice for your student, um, you've got to think about the partnership. That it's got to be the right connection, the right relationship that you can establish with the teachers, with the administrators, because um, educating a student is something that takes everybody. And so, coming to Scott and having the opportunity to work with people that truly care about students, that are truly looking to make a difference in the lives of students, is what you're going to find at our campus. We are small, but with that, it means that everything that we're doing is intentional. That students aren't just a number; they truly have names. They're not just a name on a roster, but they're ingrained into a class family. So if you're looking to um, not just move your student from kindergarten to 12th grade and check off all the boxes, but really looking for your child to grow as a future citizen of the United States and grow academically and emotionally and socially, and really have the attention that they need. I would say that would be one of the reasons to choose Scott.
Okay. So most people would say that the school is a reflection of their administrator. So, what would you say are the characteristics of the school and also characteristics of yourself?
I would say characteristics of the school, and this kind of ties back to the history. Scott opened in 2017 as part of Academics Plus as a K-6 school. And every year our sixth grade class moved up to be the oldest grade in the building. So sixth grade, seventh grade, and then we just had our third graduating class this past year. So just looking at where we've been starting in 2017 to now, one thing that I would say as a characteristic of our school, of our students and our staff, is that there's always that open-mindedness and not being afraid of change, for the better and for the positive, um, and knowing that change is necessary and being flexible. And so understanding as a school, but also from an administrator standpoint, that um, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where growth is going to take place.
So, the next question would be for the athletic side, just because this is an athletic podcast. So, with that being said, how would you say the basketball team is this year compared to previous years?
So I would say, and athletics is not my forte. I was a band kid in high school, so athletics isn't what I'm familiar with. But I will say, looking at the culture of the athletic program, that there's definitely been a positive shift in the right direction. And when I say positive shift, going from that on a team, I can assume that there's a multitude of roles, and every role is important. And how I would summarize it is, when we first started, it was everyone wanted to be on the team just for the title or just for the T-shirt. But now we're looking to move towards students that want to, I don't want to say be on the front line, but essentially be the star players, and students that know their role, and students that are shifting the mentality of everything is about me to how I impact the team, both positive and negative. So I would say, from an athletic standpoint, that while we may not be where we want to be, um, win wise or bringing titles home, um, although I could see that coming in the future, that the culture is definitely shifting for the better.
Okay. So one of the things that Mr. Williams stated in a recent podcast was that Scott has a big family dynamic. How do you go about, keeping that family dynamic with the parents of those students?
First, validating the parent or the family or the student as a person first.
Okay.
Meeting their emotional needs first. We can always solve a problem, but we can't solve problems when we're upset. So working that down and getting to an executive state of mind would probably be my first approach.
Okay.
Because ultimately we should all be focusing and going towards the same goal, and that's for whatever the well-being of the student is. But ultimately, being able to understand feelings, to validate feelings, um, we can rationalize before being totally dismissive.
Next question to you is uh, define Scott Charter as a 1A, and what does that mean?
So, in regards to being a 1A, I mean, the first thing that I think of is just going to be the size and the population. And so we are small in numbers and
Mm-hmm.
we do have goals to grow. Say that in regards to Scott being a 1A, it just further provides an opportunity for students to learn and grow and play together, but also providing more access for students, regardless of their ability, regardless of where they are in their journey as growing as an athlete,
Mm-hmm.
to have the opportunity to practice and contribute their skill sets to the team.
Okay. So, Miss Pepper, if you could just give the viewers an idea as far as like how many people do we have in our school? Because some people don't know what a 1A is. Like, how many people do we have in our school? What does the high school class look like? Because Mr. Williams threw out some words as far as like the student teacher ratio is
Mm-hmm.
small, and
Mm-hmm.
that we have access to, you have one-on-one access to your teachers and things of that nature. So if you could just elaborate more as far as like our class sizes, that would be great.
Yeah, so right now we have one teacher per grade level. So one kindergarten class, one first grade class. Our class cap, which means we can only have that number of students before we'd have to get another classroom. For kindergarten is we can have up to 20, and then first grade through 12th grade, we can have up to 25 students in that class. At this moment, we don't have a grade level that reaches that maximum capacity. So that means that every grade level has 25 or less students. When Mr. Williams, just kind of going off of what you shared, stated that we have a smaller student to teacher ratio, that kind of goes back to the intimacy of students not just being a number or a name on a roster. That if I know I only have 7 students in a class, and even at a high school level, I've had them from 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So I've had an opportunity to learn what skills they've grown in, where they started, what they still struggle with, and I can meet with them one on one or in a small group setting, without there being disruption in the classroom where that may not be as easily accessible in larger schools or students that have 30 or more students in a class.
If there were 5 things that you could sell as far as to get a student to come to Scott, what would they be?
I think if I were going to best communicate and advocate for our school, I think one of our biggest sells is going to be our staff. I think we have an amazing team. So I would say just knowing that you're sending your children to a school where the staff members are committed to not only best serving your students, but also to growing in whatever way is needed. Because even though we are small, we have access to a lot of curricular resources. Students are one to one, and so there's accessibility with all the learning tools, all the learning platforms. So we're doing whatever we can to best meet the academic needs of students. I would say that number 5 of why you should choose Scott is really more of a question. Why wouldn't you want to try and choose Scott? So that number 5, I'm kind of putting back on the viewers of, we want students to be critical thinkers. We want them to try new things. We want them to investigate new things and be comfortable being uncomfortable. And so that number 5 is take a chance and come see what we have to offer and what we can do to serve you and your students.
And we would love to see you at Scott. Once again, this is Inside Four Lines, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.